Taylor Swift has been named the 2023 Time Magazine Person of the Year. I just got done reading the interview right here, and some things really stood out to me about this interview. First of all, the story that I didn't know, that many of you may have known, I don't know, but the story involving country superstar Kenny Chesney. The story pretty much being that when Taylor was 17, she was supposed to open up a show for Kenny Chesney, and she was so excited about it. And then at the last second, Kenny's tour was sponsored by a beer company. Taylor was only 17, so she was too young to be a part of the tour. And I'm sure that was a huge gut punch for her. But the cool thing is, Kenny Chesney, weeks later, went out of his way to do something really cool for Taylor Swift, and that is pretty much write her a check for more money than she could have ever imagined. And this helped jumpstart Taylor Swift's career. A very cool thing for Kenny Chesney to do, because Kenny Chesney, I'm a millennial. I grew up listening to some Kenny Chesney. He had some bops, and he's still out there doing his thing today. And he could have very well went on about his business and not ever given it a second thought. He could have gone and did his thing and never really thought about this girl again. But the fact that he saw enough in her and felt for her in that moment, that he went out of his way and wrote that check. That was a very cool thing I thought of him to do. And I think any line of work you're in, whether it's music, whether it's something else out there, most times you need somebody who's already made it to reach out and give you a helping hand. Sometimes that can go a long way. And so obviously, for Kenny Chesney to do that for her and do it in such a way that it helped her jumpstart her career, very cool thing of him to do it. And I think it's cool that she got to mention that, because I had never heard that story before, and I don't know if you had either. Another thing that stood out to me about this interview was Travis Kelce. And, obviously I'm a huge music fan. I'm a fan of Taylor Swift. I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, but I'm also a huge NFL fan. My team resides in Nashville, Tennessee, the Tennessee Titans. They're not doing so great this year. But all that to say, I am very aware of who Travis Kelce is. Honestly, one of the best NFL players today on any team. And the whole thing started with him and Taylor Swift months ago. And kind of took on a life of its own. She's obviously been at some games. He went and saw her tour, and people have kind of wondered what's going on. I can only imagine it must be a pretty serious thing for her to go out of her way to mention him as much as she did in this interview. She mentioned this guy quite a bit in a very matter-of-fact way, talked about how all of it started with him mentioning her on his podcast that he has with his brother Jason Kelce, who also plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. Talked about how it kind of started and everything like that. And that tells me that there's obviously something there. A lot of people have said that they were just dating for publicity. Why does Taylor Swift need publicity? What a ridiculous, I don't know. I also found it interesting that she talked about how, she felt like it might get annoying to everyday football viewers to have to see her. And I think that's interesting, because it has been a topic of discussion, because I've seen both sides of it. I've seen the Taylor Swift fan side, I've seen the football fan side, and a lot of football watchers have gotten annoyed with the constant, camera on her, mentioning her every time she's there, almost more than the game itself. I will say there have been times when I was watching a game, and I've been like, something huge just happened in the game. Why are we talking about Taylor Swift? And it's nothing against her, because you know what? She pretty much said it in the interview. She didn't ask for any of that. She doesn't even know how these cameras find out what press box she's in, right? She's just there trying to support this guy, just like he was at her concert trying to support her. Found it interesting how much she talked about him. And their whole dynamic is very interesting, because they're both such in the public eye. There's some of that stuff you can't avoid, but I did find it funny that she pretty much said she is aware that there are a lot of people who are annoyed by the fact that the NFL and the commentators on the game almost make it more about her than the game that's going on. But, I mean, the NFL, they would be idiots not to. You're trying to bring in new fans. You're trying to bring in more viewers. You have to, it's something you'd be stupid not to take advantage of, right? Another thing that was talked about was the situation with Kanye West and the Kardashians and all of this that happened years ago when her career, seemingly her reputation, took a big hit because of the situation involving them and some stuff that was leaked out and what's true and what's not. I will say I remember when all that happened and everybody was saying Taylor Swift was done, and I knew it was nonsense in the moment, and I remember this, I tweeted that night, and I was like, she is going to write a hit song about all of this, and you're all going to buy it. You're all going to purchase it. You're all going to download it. You're all going to have it on your phone. And it was not very long until she came out with Shake It Off. And it's one of her biggest hits she's ever had. But I found it interesting how vulnerable she was in talking about that situation because, I think she said she went away, and didn't leave the house for like a year or something because she really felt like her career had been taken from her. What an unfortunate situation that was. What a very public, embarrassing situation that was not just the award show when he came up during the acceptance speech, but also all the stuff that happened later on social media. But I think, we can obviously see where all of these different people are now, and I think she's doing a heck of a lot better off than some of the other people involved in that situation, right? But I did appreciate the vulnerability that she showed in this interview by talking so openly about that and how she really thought she was done. She thought her career was over, that it had been taken from her. She talked about the situation with the record company and why she's having to redo all of her old albums. And I respect the crap out of this. Like, I think she mentioned it was Kelly Clarkson and some others who told her to just take control of the situation. Like, you are in a position where you can control this narrative, not them. And I appreciate the fact that she has gone back and she is redoing all of these old albums of hers, and she's just redoing them again, and she's saying, hey, you know what? You're not going to control my music. You're not going to control, you're not going to profit off of my work, because I know, I mean, she was very open about the fact that she feels like this guy doesn't like her. This guy does not have her best interest in mind. So, that's a tough thing to think that somebody who is against you is profiting off of your work. So I like that she pretty much said, hey, up yours. I'm going to just go redo it myself and put it out again. And most people are just going to listen to the new version instead of the old version because I'm just going to tell them how awful you're being. I think that is really cool. And to see where she's at now, really just at the peak of her career now, doing this interview, being so open about it. I think it's a very cool thing, talking about Kelsey and Kanye and Kenny. Why do they all start with A? Kelsey, Kanye, Kenny, Chesney, and all of that, that stuff that happened. I think it's really cool to see her being open about that and to see that she has come out on the other side of it. And I love the quote that she had where she talked about how in the 90s and in the 2000s, you pretty much were done at 29. Like, they would take these kids who knew nothing about anything, and then finally, when they were getting to an age where they were smart enough to know how to navigate the waters, they would just replace them with other teenagers and people in their early 20s. And now we're seeing her, a few years into her 30s, really just taking control of this situation and really reaching her peak. And I think that is awesome. It's a great example for artists who are headed in that direction, that you don't have to just disappear once you're, at an age where you realize how to navigate all of this. You can really take advantage of it and be better. And so I liked the interview, and I liked the openness and the honesty. Fever dream high in the quiet of the night, you know that I caught it. Bad, bad girl, shiny toy with a price, you know that I bought it. killing me slow. Out the window, I'm always waiting for you to be waiting below. Devils roll the dice, angels roll their eyes. What doesn't kill me makes me want you more. And it's new, the shape of your body, it's blue. The feeling I got in it, ooh. It's a cruel summer, it's cool. And that's when I tell them no rules. Unbreakable heaven, but ooh, it's a cruel summer with you. Hang your head low in the glow of the vending machine, I'm not dying. You say that we'll just screw it up in these trying times, we're not trying. So cut the headlights, summer's a knife. I'm always waiting for you just to cut to the bone. Devils roll the dice, angels roll their eyes. And if I bleed, you'll be the last to know. It's new, the shape of your body, it's blue. The feeling I got in it, ooh. It's a cruel summer, it's a cool. And that's when I tell them no rules. Unbreakable heaven, but ooh, it's a cruel summer with you. I'm drunk in the back of the car, and I cried like a baby coming home from the bar. Oh, said I'm fine, but it wasn't true. I don't wanna keep secrets just to keep you. And I snuck in through the garden gate every night that summer just to seal my fate. Oh, and I scream for whatever it's worth. I love you, ain't that the worst thing you ever heard? She looks up grinning like a devil, it's new. The shape of your body, it's blue. The feeling I got in it, ooh. It's a cruel summer and it's cool. And that's when I tell them no rules. Unbreakable heaven, but ooh, it's a cruel summer with you. It's a cruel, cruel summer with you, yeah. I'm drunk in the back of the car, and I cry like a baby coming home from the bar. Oh, said I'm fine, but it wasn't true. I don't wanna keep secrets just to keep you. And I snuck in through the garden gate every night that summer just to seal my fate. Oh, and I scream for whatever it's worth. I love you, ain't that the worst thing you ever heard?